Hi everyone, welcome to another video tutorial. In this video, I'm going to do part 2 of BehaviorDEPOT video. Previously, I showed you how to download and install BehaviorDEPOT, and I received a few comments in which people were asking me to do some demonstrations for specific behaviors. Now, I don't particularly work with freezing behaviors, but I was able to download a demo video from the GitHub repos demonstration videos that are available through their GitHub. So I will be utilizing this to show you guys how you can apply it to different behaviors and modify based on your own criteria, your experimental criteria, how you can modify different things. So let's get started. And just briefly, once you download the repo and you unzip it, you will see this BehaviorDEPOT installer, Matlab installer, that you should double click and get it started so that it will install everything for you. Now, I already have it installed, so I'm not particularly interested in reinstalling it, although you could. So once you have your Matlab open, you can find your newer installation of BehaviorDEPOT under the apps. So go here, you will be here in the home, and go over to apps, go to this drop-down menu, and go over to BehaviorDEPOT. Check out my other video. I show you some of the dependencies that you need to install to get this to work. So in this video, I am actually going to move on to do a small demonstration and then show you some visualization tools that I particularly like, and those are the ones that I've developed for just visualizing some of the behaviors. So let's get started. Here I'm going to navigate over to my folder where I have a few things set up. So let's go through this. So here's a CSV file. This one is also downloaded from the GitHub repo, and this is a demo CSV. There's a demo video that I downloaded, and I have an empty folder with nothing in it with the label of the video underscore analyzed. Okay, so these are the three things that I had in my folder, working folder. And then this is the script that I'm going to go over later, which does some visualization of the behaviors. So let's get started. In this video, I had some requests for doing freezing behaviors. Now for freezing behaviors, the velocity is primarily what you will be using to detect freezing behaviors. In addition, you can also calculate moving, different body parts move at different speeds. So here I'm going to first go ahead and run these two. By the way, for the data preparation, make sure that you understand which ones you need to use for smoothing. And for the tracking cutoff, this is standard. You can use whatever cutoff you want that you require for your deep lab cut confidence interval. So here for me, I'm going to, let's say, use 0.1 for my P cutoff. So anything below this threshold will get discarded and will not be included in our analysis. Okay, so without further ado, let's press the start. And here it's asking me to input the tracking file, which is the CSV file. And then next is the video. So here we go. So we are almost done. And this part here asks you to select and match the body parts. So I explained this part in my previous video. Check that out if you have not. Here I'm going to just breeze through this part really quick. Okay, so it generates two folders. Well, one folder I already had right here. So it saved a few things in this folder. But it generated another folder with the .avi underscore analyzed extension. And this contains the movement tracking data. This folder has the freezing behavior or bout behavior. Here, let's check this out. So for the freezing behavior, based on the default settings, it detected freezing behaviors here, here, here. And as you can see, it has quite a few freezing behaviors based on the default parameters that are set within the BehaviorDEPOT. Now we can go ahead and take a look at the behavior structure here, freezing and moving. If I go into freezing, it tells me there were 17 different instances of freezing behavior that were detected. But if I want to know what the parameters were that were used to detect those bouts, then I have to go over to the parameters.mat file. And by double clicking, you can see these structures that pop up, and within this freezing structure you will have your parameters. So velocity threshold is 0.52. Okay, angle threshold for whatever the body part is being analyzed here. In this case, it's the nose, which is being analyzed. So the angle threshold is 12. The window, this is the number of frames that are being used for analyzing about, which is 32, and then your frame cutoff. And then also the duration, of course, we cannot forget this. So these parameters you have to set based off of your own experimental design. And next step, I am going to show you how you modify these. Let me delete these. Let me generate a new file. Here, I am going to pick edit for the velocity, for the freezing velocity. I'm going to press edit and run because I want to edit this and run this. And here I'm going to actually change this from 0.1 to 3 now. Okay, so this will discard any instances of body part detections that were less than 30% confidence. So here, now it's asking me freezing velocity threshold. I'm going to check this to be 0.8. So very, very high threshold. And for the angle threshold, let's do 5 degrees. This I'm fine with. Count threshold 10 is fine for me. And for the duration, I want to do one complete second of the duration. So here it's going to do its thing, and we continue through the workflow. No errors popped up. Okay, so here we go. Now you can see, compared to the last time, these are a different frame location, as well as the number is different now. So if I go to behavior and look at the freezing behavior, now it's 13. Now there are 13 bouts of freezing behavior that were detected with my change in the parameter. And then once again in the parameter, if I go here to the parameters that I used an angle threshold of 5, velocity threshold of 0.8, and the min duration to be 1. Okay. So this is how you basically run the behavior depot. Now what I want to do next is I want to take just the tracking data, which is in this folder right here. This is the tracking data. I'm going to use the smoothed data, and I'm going to utilize this with my script that I've written. And don't worry about this. I will provide this on my GitHub repo, and you can utilize these 3 functions that I've developed. Now, the first function is to animate the mouse's body part. And here you can choose whichever body part you want. But the first thing is that you have to bring in this tracking. Clear this out. So under whatever folder you are, you have to bring this tracking.mat into your workspace like this. Make sure you're able to do that. And then from that, you can simply run this section of the code. And this is now starting to animate the tracking behavior. And in this case, it's the nose tracking behavior. So here, for example, you can see how the mouse is moving, and this is very useful for analyzing certain types of behaviors. You might want to detect patterns in the movement, and this sort of gives you an idea over time of how the mouse is behaving. Here I've written an example code for tracking multiple body parts simultaneously. So if I run this section, you can see, and I've sped this part up so we can see just quickly how the mouse is moving and different body parts that are moving in relationship to each other. So here, for example, the blue represents the nose, the red is head is being tracked in red, and then green is the mid back. There's another visualization, and this is just heat map, right? So heat maps are very useful if you want to very quickly understand where, in what region is the mouse spending most of its time, right? So in this case, we can see it's spending majority of its time in this area, but this is highly variable because I change this bin number, for example, then we see relatively different output. Right? So this is again experiment driven. Heat maps can also tell you very quickly whether the mouse is freezing in certain positions, but that's again situational and dependent on how you assign your bin value. So here, for example, a bin of 20 tells me that, hey, mouse is spending significant amount of time over here. By time, I mean the frames, number of frames that are being spent in that area are somewhat high. Okay, so these are a few of the tools that I have. Again, there's a lot of flexibility within these tools. If you want to, for example, track some other body part, right? So again, if you're interested in head instead of the nose, you can obviously come back here and change these values to represent head. And let's actually do it. So here, if I want to do head, to change this to head and then shift enter changes all of the instances where it was nose tracking to head tracking. And then if I run this section now it's tracking the head instead of the nose. But of course, this is MATLAB. We can do even more complex analyses if we need to. Um, and I will leave that up to you guys. Please do share with me if you guys come up with some new visualization techniques for this type of data. I'm very interested in this. But because I don't personally work with freezing behaviors and certain types of behaviors, I'm obviously willing to learn more about this. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this one. This is a very short video, obviously, but in this video, I just wanted to showcase a few more steps that you can take with your data. Obviously, there are many different ways that you can visualize and analyze these things. All right, so for those of you who made it to the end of this video, I have a small bonus for you guys. So I was able to write a MATLAB code that allows you to output videos with tracking visualized on top of the video as well as the behavior. So I'm going to show you in this small clip and how to utilize it. The folders that are generated after analysis, make sure that you add those to your path by going here and adding here to the path. For running each of these segments, you just go ahead, you have to go up here to run section. And I'm going to just run this one here and show you what that looks like. Okay, so the video rendering is finished. So I'm only tracking nose, head, and the tail base. But here, for example, if I go to the places that I know have my freezing behavior, so around here, so it visually shows where the freezing behaviors are happening, and you can confirm by looking at your mouse's behavior that the freezing bouts are in fact happening correctly, or your program is picking up your freezing behaviors correctly. And then the next one happens around 1400. So here, for example, so there you can see the mouse was frozen there for a bit. Okay, well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for all of your feedback and comments and for giving a thumbs up to this video if you like it. Thank you so much for watching.